Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. My name is Gavin. This is my channel. I really don't have a good opening. I don't have a good entry point to my channel. I have never figured it out. I've been doing this for 3 years. Still haven't figured it out. One of my favorite YouTubers is a guy down in Tennessee. He has a sawmill and he's like, "Welcome back to the sawmill, friends." I love it. But I got none of that. But it's okay because really what matters here is the case that we're talking about, which is the case of little Madeline Soto. Now, if you've been watching for the last little while, I would say like the last week and a half, man, I have been on this case. I'm so grateful to the other YouTubers who have been working hard to get Freedom of Information Act requests in and answered. I've been doing the same thing. I've been using stuff that I've gotten directly from the different investigative agencies, along with stuff that has been made available by cases like channels like Hidden True Crime, Plunder, Grizzly True Crime. These people are all just top notch, doing some really good work, and I'm really grateful for it. And today we are getting into the recording of the interview by state's attorneys, representative counsel, investigators, so forth, an interview that happened with Jenn Soto on the 18th of April. So it was almost 2 months, let's call it a month and a half, past the murder of Madeline Soto, her daughter. I want to talk a little bit about, well, we're not going to listen to the whole thing today. I'm going to divide this into 2 parts. But so we're going to listen to maybe half hour, 35 minutes of this today. But I want to talk a little bit about immunity, because that is the question that people have. Like, there are 2 questions. Did Jenn Soto get immunity? And the other question is, will she ever be charged? Okay. Now, over on my website, which I know there's a link to. If you guys have been on the channel for any length of time, you know I've got a pretty, I guess, what would we call that? I'm not trying to boast. I'm just saying there's a lot on my website. Okay. When we get over into Madeline's case page, you do that by clicking on cases, clicking on little Maddie's photo, and there's just so much here, including the recording that we're going to listen to tonight right here, all of the documents that have been released so far, and so many of the photos. It's all there, okay? But also on my website is a blog, and late last night, I wrote a quick blog piece. If you are a subscriber to Crime Cod, my newsletter, you probably saw this already, but this is a close look at what is called derivative use immunity. We are going, obviously they've offered her some use immunity here, specifically derivative use immunity. And so I just want to do a very quick primer on that, a non-lawyer's explanation as to what derivative use immunity is, which apparently is what was offered to Jennifer Soto. Basically, it means this, that she has immunity as long as she tells the truth from anything that she says that she gives to law enforcement through her testimony that leads to evidence. If it leads to evidence that incriminates her, they don't get to use it. That's what use immunity is. Derivative use immunity is anything that derives from that. So it's actually much more broad. If Jennifer Soto were to testify that, hey, this isn't the case, but Stefan Stearns, she testifies, Stefan Stearns used a multicolored scarf that I gave him for Christmas in 2017 to throttle or to use as a garrote against Madeline, and they found that they wouldn't be able to use that against her. They'd be able to use it against him. However, if through outside investigation, not connected to the interview that they did with Jennifer Soto, they were able to come to a reasonable, or they were able to come to that evidence in another way, and it somehow implicated Jennifer Soto in the crime, then they would be able to use that. So oftentimes prosecutors and investigators will use immunity to kind of loosen up their suspect to make them feel like they're protected, but then they're just looking for other ways to get around that use immunity, and they do a very good job of it. So the second question that comes up often is, will Jennifer Soto be charged? In my opinion, the answer to that is yes. It will happen eventually. I honestly believe that. And we're going to get into reasons why I believe that as we listen to this recording. So let's go ahead and bring up Jennifer's face. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep it on here all night long. Also, remember that you can get my attention in the live chat by simply putting GF in your comment. I use that as a filter, and it helps me to be able to see the kinds of questions you guys want me to answer. So listen to Autumn. She already knows what to do, right? So if you guys want me to read your comment, if it's directed at me, put GF in it. If it's not directed to me and you're just chatting with folks in the chat box, which is awesome, go for it. Okay. So with that, let's just go ahead and start this up. This, by the way, came to me really compressed up. It's really amplified. So I'm trying to make it so that you're not going to get blasted in the ears. I should turn my mic up just a little bit to match it. And I think I'm going to turn system audio just down just a hair. All right, here we go.
Good morning. We are at the State Attorney's Office in Kissimmee. It's 8:57 a.m. It is April 18th, 2024. I am William J. I am the Division Chief for the Homicide Unit. With me is Danielle Pinnell, also from the Homicide Unit in Kissimmee. Can the detectives identify themselves?
Detective Mark Morris.
Detective Kyle Smallwood.
And with us is
Jennifer Soto.
with your attorney,
Matthew Bark.
All right. We went over some things before we went on the record and told you the opportunity to ask any questions that you needed to ask. If you need a break to consult with your attorney, that is absolutely fine. We'll all step out of the room, turn off our recorders, and let you exercise your constitutional right to have counsel. There's no problem with that. There's water fountains here. There's restrooms. I don't know if you're a smoker or not, but if you get desperate, we can make an outside break time, but we are kind of under time constraints.
I think he's doing a good job here, by the way, trying to establish that, hey, you're safe here. We will take care of you here, but also we need to get through this. Right? I think he's doing a good job here.
With that all said, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is an investigative subpoena, so you've been compelled to be here. And in our country, under the 5th Amendment and the 14th Amendment as applied to you under the Florida Constitution as well, you cannot be forced to incriminate yourself. So anything you say today can't and won't be used against you unless you just don't tell us the truth. And I've already explained to your attorney, Mr. Bark, whether or not you've made any inconsistent statements in the past, that is dirt under the bridge, and either a misdemeanor was committed or it wasn't, but we're not going to be using that as a basis of some sort of perjury by false statements, because those other charges wouldn't be perjury anyways.
Listen to that. He's already establishing a misdemeanor, at least, was already committed here, but we're not going to worry about it. Let's just not add perjury to it. He's doing a very good job. He's saying, oh, we already know. We just need you to be truthful and tell us more.
So the most important thing today,
by the way, that tells me that they have a way around at least part of that derivative use immunity.
Is to tell the truth. I also explained derivative use immunity, which means if you said that there was a gun, and obviously there's no gun in this case, buried in your attorney's yard, we couldn't go dig up that gun if you told us that, oh yeah, there's the gun that was used is right there. We wouldn't be able to do that. We would have to show that we learned all those things independently from this interview. Okay? Do you have any questions? All right, so let's get started.
Before you start, let me just make sure we're clear on the record. Off the record, we had discussed our position on the concerns we have. Ms. Soto was interrogated by law enforcement previously. She was under a tremendous amount of duress and stress, being that her child was missing and then she was found deceased. There's been media hysteria about this. There's been people asking for her to be prosecuted, tarred, feathered, executed. And so with that said, we have the concern that you brought up about if there's something said inconsistent today, not being used against her for filing a false police report.
Right, so for example, if she said something that was false then, and we have no idea that it was false now before this interview, but she comes in and admits that it was false today, we can't use these statements or that admission that it was false against her, just like we couldn't use anything else against her from this interview.
Trying to fix the audio.
Okay. All right. My understanding is that on February 25th of this year, you were working at the hotel on Disney property out at Coronado Springs.
Yes.
You
You have to answer
out loud and loud enough to get caught on the record. I know you're upset. I know.
Yes.
All right. And did you get off at 10 p.m.?
Yes.
All right. Did you go directly home?
Yes.
About how long does it take you to get home?
About 25 to 30 minutes.
And when you get home, who is downstairs, if anybody? You have a two-story, is it a townhome? Is that the best word for it?
Yes, it's at home.
If anybody is downstairs, who is downstairs?
I saw my daughter Madeline and Stefan.
Do you recall what Madeline was wearing?
No.
And do you recall what Stefan was wearing?
I can't tell you. No.
You know, it's really interesting about that, and hopefully I'm making the audio close here. I'm pulling back the system audio a little bit, bumping myself up. So hopefully that's okay. And thank you for that feedback, guys. What's interesting about this is that like every mom I know, including my own wife, is able to tell you exactly what her children were wearing or her child was wearing if they saw them that day. Now, maybe I give like the benefit of the doubt to Jenn here because it is now a month and a half past, but I feel like that day would be burned into your mind. The last time you saw your daughter, it would be burned into your mind. Now, I am not like that. I just saw my wife like 10 minutes ago, and I can't tell you exactly what she was wearing, but moms have this superpower. Except Jennifer Soto, apparently.
When you get home from work, do you need to kind of eat a late dinner before you get settled in for bed?
Yes.
And do you eat there at your home?
Yes.
What do you eat?
I think I had a pub sub waiting for me in the house, a sandwich.
Okay. Did anybody join you in sitting down and eating?
No, I ate in my bedroom.
Okay. Did it look like anybody else had recently cooked food or eaten any food there that night?
From what I saw, no. I didn't see anyone cooking, or it didn't look like anyone had been cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, Janet, this is actually I've talked to an investigator about this before. This is a technique that is used in order to bring them back into that place that day. It is purposeful what he's doing here. Great catch on that.
I believe in one of your former interviews you mentioned that Madeline might have gone over with you kind of what she got at the birthday party since you didn't have the chance to go because you were at work. Mm-hmm. When and where does that occur?
That occurs like right after I get home. It occurs in my bedroom. Everyone's in my room.
And so by everyone, let's just be clear since I understand you have some roommates. So what do you mean by everyone?
Okay. Madeline, Stefan, and myself were in my bedroom.
Okay. At this point in time, do you recall what Madeline was wearing?
I don't know.
Let me ask it a different way. Can you tell me whether or not she was wearing a long-sleeved green sweatshirt and jeans?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Trying to fix
Would
my
she have
audio.
kind of been in her
Better.
bed gear, or do you think she could have still been in the dress that she wore to her birthday celebration?
She would have been in pajamas. I can't recall the exact pajamas, but she would have been in pajamas. She had already, by this point in the evening, she had already showered and changed out of that birthday dress.
And was it your understanding from your sister that she had gotten dropped off about 8:30, she being Madeline?
8:30, 8:45, something around that time, yeah.
And what's your understanding as to when Stefan had gotten there? If you know. If you don't guess, it's fine.
Hey, let me pause on this, and hopefully, man, now it looks like I'm a little too hot. But anyway, let me just pause here for a second, because there's something that keeps happening that is driving me crazy, but it's understandable. Everybody calls him Stefan, all the investigators. It's only the people who know him who call him Stefan, which is his given name. And I know that that is something that can drive people crazy. I figured it out. I figured out how I can not be driven crazy by something. I mean, this is just so piddly. It's not important. But I remember when I was a kid, when I was a kid, I bought this like little Ziggy card for a girl that I thought was cute. And it said, "You and I have a rendezvous with destiny." I don't know what that means, but it sounds important, I think is what the card said. It's in my mind, man. I think I wasn't a little kid. I was like 12, something like that. Old enough to know what rendezvous was, but when I read it, I read, "You and I have a rendezvous with destiny, and I don't know what that means, but blah, blah, blah." And I honestly didn't know what it meant. Later on in life, I heard this thing saying, don't worry about when people mispronounce words. It's because they learned it by reading, right? Okay, so what does this have to do with it? Everybody's calling him Stefan or Stefan or Steven or whatever. It's because they are in the file all the time. Their eyes are on the file all the time. So however they're pronouncing it, when they're reading it in their head, that's what's coming out. So if you were like me, if that kind of stuff bothers you, like the mispronouncing of words, which it really bothers me, and I hate it when I do it, and I do it often, but just give them a little latitude, because that's the thing, is that they are nose in the books on this, investigating the crime, and they don't care what his name is, probably.
Actually, while he's saying that, this is important. So there's things that you might think should be a certain way, because that's just the way things go. But don't just guess based on past history that it's the same as what happened on that particular day.
I believe you're correct.
You don't know.
Then yeah, I'm not sure exactly what time he got there.
Okay. You were at work, so I just didn't know if, like, sometimes families check in, "Hey, I made it," by text or by phone call or anything like that. Do you not remember any of that?
I don't remember.
Okay. How long were the three of you in your bedroom?
I'm going to say for about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did Madeline tell you about the party?
She was really happy.
Did she tell you what food they had there at the party? Or?
Yeah, they had her favorites.
What are her favorites?
Puerto Rican food. So arroz con gandules.
All right, so you're going to have to translate to English. I know frijoles and arroz and a couple other things, but help me out.
That was painful.
If I recall correctly, she had requested rice. It's a type of rice and beans.
Mm-hmm.
It's rice with pigeon peas.
Okay.
And pernil, which is, I'm not sure how to, it's a pork, but I'm not sure how they cook it.
Okay.
So it's cooked pork. That's typically what she requests for her parties. That's like her favorite meal.
Okay. And what kind of gifts did she get?
Listen to how Jennifer is speaking in the present tense as well. Listen, like the investigator has done a good job bringing her back to that time. He's using the present tense. It's making her use the present tense. It's putting her back there. This is really well done by this interviewer.
She got a lot of money.
Okay.
That's what she ended up showing me. I think she had a few trinkets, but like most of it was just a big wad of money that she was so excited for.
All Is there any particular reason Stefan couldn't make it up to the party? Because it's my understanding he didn't exactly work or anything.
He wouldn't have been invited. The party was held at my mom's house, and my mom and him have never had a great relationship. She's never liked him. So he wouldn't have been invited to the party at all. It just would have been my whole family, and then me. If I hadn't worked, I would have been there.
Okay. Now, during this 30 minutes that the three of you are in your bedroom, is Madeline engaging in any of her kind of nighttime routine, or, you know, getting ready for bed? What else is going on, if anything?
We spent a long time talking about gifts and having her show me, and then we counted out her own money. I can't remember if she had finished with all of her bedtime routine.
Okay. Does she brush her teeth at night?
In the shower.
In the shower? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that occurred before you got home?
Yeah.
And my understanding with her nighttime medication is that's something that you would like to make sure she had bedtime or so?
Something like that, yeah.
So were you present for that occurring? Or
By the way, guys, those little skips and drops in sound, those are done. Those are like redactions that are done by the state's attorney's office. I did not do any of that. I didn't touch any of this.
did that occur after you got home?
That did not occur on my call. I believe I had instructed Maddie when she got home to go ahead and take them herself.
Okay. And is that something that she's allowed to do?
From time to time, yeah.
When you say they, is there, what my understanding was there was some hydroxyzine. Is there anything else she takes at night?
Just hydroxyzine.
All right. And the Miralax is when?
Miralax is...
Again, this is all done by the...
So that would have been earlier while you were at work too if she took it?
Yeah.
May not have because she was at the party?
Yeah, because I had been training at work that week and we had been going back and forth with my mom's a lot, the Miralax wasn't consistent.
Okay. All right. Now, Madeline, does she lay out her clothes for school the next day, or is that something she gets in the morning, makes a game time decision like my kid?
Typically, it is a game time decision morning of.
Okay. What about this specific evening? Do you remember anything about it?
Yes. This evening, we had, I had already discussed prior to Stefan coming to visit that he was going to help me take Maddie to school that day. So because I knew that that was what was going to happen that night, I had asked Maddie, pick out your clothes, have everything ready, have your backpack ready, your water bottle, everything you need ready so that way you could just grab your stuff and head out. It won't.
Okay, I have questions about this story. I have questions, man. The whole idea that, now I know she had 2 doctor's appointments that were on the books, right? They were scheduled. But the thing is, like, Stefan never took her to school, almost never took her to school. This whole idea, I mean, it's not like a 10 a.m. appointment is going to, or when was it, 9 a.m. or something like that. Like, school, dropping your daughter off at school is not going to get in the way of having an appointment, mid-morning. So I'm suspicious about this story in the first place. I'm just completely suspicious about it. And you guys know where I stand on this. I think that Jenn was not mentally capable in a lot of ways of making good decisions. That doesn't excuse what happened to her daughter, and I believe her part of that, in my opinion. But I just don't buy. I just don't buy it that she asked Stefan to take Maddie to school. That to me sounds like, because we know about her waking up while he was getting the dog, taking the dog out, that, maybe it was then where he said, oh, no, I've got Maddie, I'll take her to school or whatever. It feels like it's part of the story that she learned, or that Stefan had her recite after the fact. That's what it feels like to me. Anyway, here we go.
too much of a hassle in the morning. And so she did. She picked out her clothing. I asked her what she was wearing, and she told me what she had picked out. I said, okay, fine.
All right, so she picks it out, but does she physically take it out of somewhere, wherever she stores her clothes, and put it somewhere?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she took that clothes upstairs with her or anything like that.
All right. So as far, you didn't see them in your room, and did you have the opportunity to kind of see her cubby part of the living room to see if she had put them on her bed or anything like that?
I hadn't seen them.
Does Madeline have like a water bottle or a hydro flask or whatever the kids call it that she likes to sleep with and bring up or bring wherever she's sleeping?
Typically not. That stays downstairs in her backpack, and then she'll clean it in the morning and then fill it back up and just leave it in her backpack. That typically stays in the backpack.
Okay. Favorite stuffed animal or stuffed animals? Anything that always goes with her wherever she's sleeping?
She does have a few stuffies and blankies. Did I see any that day?
Yeah, specifically, did you see if she brought any of that stuff upstairs with her?
No, I didn't see any of that stuff upstairs.
Now, separate question. Generally, habitually, like your attorney was saying, there's a difference between specific memory, but generally, would she do that? Not saying that you saw it that night.
Generally, would she do what?
Have stuffies and blankets and her favorite stuff.
Yes, she typically would.
So if Stefan says something like Maddie's building her nest and getting settled in, would that to you mean like her stuff is part of this nest, or what do you think that?
This, by the way, we know is what Stefan said. Stefan. Now I'm saying it like he said it. We know this is what Stefan said. So, this is an indication there's so many things that they already know. I'm sure they're trying to trap her in a lie, which, by the way, would get rid of her immunity, right? If they get her in a lie, immunity is out the window. So I think that might be one of the things that they're trying to do here, is get probably trap her in her lie so that they can get her later. Also, just to confirm things that they already suspect or already know. He's doing great here.
Would mean if you know.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you recall getting that text from Stefan that night that Maddie had settled into her nest for the night?
I don't remember that text now.
Okay. My understanding was that at some point you told them it was time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Do you recall about what time that was?
Around 11 o'clock.
So that's consistent with getting home at 10:30, having this half-hour discussion and eating your pub sub? Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. Do they comply with your wishes to go upstairs when you say that at about 11 o'clock?
Yes, they do.
Is there any further communication between either you and Madeline or you and Stefan about, all right, kids, it's time to go to bed, anything like that? Or was that the last you had heard from either one of them that night?
I think at some point Stefan comes downstairs to use the restroom and then goes back upstairs, but after that I don't recall interacting or saying anything. So.
Okay. And my understanding is that you had some sort of parental controls over Maddie's phone. Is that accurate?
Great
I'm not
catch.
sure by parental controls exactly. I didn't have any limits or anything on the phone set up.
Well, like, for instance, if she wanted to install Game Pigeon, does that have to go through you?
Yeah. So any permissions for any apps she would have to ask me for.
All right, and does that ring a bell as to occurring that Sunday? Game Pigeon?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right. So that's the last time you hear from either one of them until the morning. My understanding is that Stefan comes down and is dealing with your dog. Is there any communication other than perhaps Stefan coming down to use the restroom? Is there any other communication that you have between Stefan and Maddie? Do you see them? Now, I've said communicate. Do you see them? Do you go up and check on them? Do you see Madeline or Stefan from the point you kick them out at 11 p.m. until you see Stefan at 8 in the morning-ish is what you guess for the dog? Now, when you go to sleep,
Emily, yeah, this is a investigator from the state's attorney's office, guy named William J. The interview took place on April 18th, 2024. So it was about a month and a half after Maddie was murdered. Obviously, at this point, Stefan Stearns is already accused and charged with her murder and with her extended, prolonged, repeated abuse. So, and what's kind of showing, or what is standing out to me here, is that Jennifer has lost her daughter. She's lost her daughter. Her daughter is dead, murdered. She has also learned that Stefan Stearns has 1,700 photos of her daughter doing really, really perverse stuff, and she's still just kind of speaking here. Like, guys, I lost a friend in 1990. 1990. He was my friend, and I get choked up about it every time I think about him, which is almost every day. What is that? That's 27 years. No, what is it? That's 34 years. It's been 34 years. And in this interview, Jennifer Soto is a month and a half past the murder of her daughter and persistent abuse essay of her daughter. And she's just talking to the cops. There is something wrong about that. It's just completely wrong. Anyway, so Emily, I hope that answered your question. Thanks for the question. We'll continue.
do you sleep through the night, or do you wake up and not have consistent good sleep?
I sleep through the night.
Okay. So there wouldn't be any points in time where you get up and you're taking steps or just checking on your phone because you can't go back to sleep? As far as you remember, when you go to sleep, you're out until the dog thing in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you hear or see anything during those hours involving Stefan or Madeline?
I didn't hear or see anything that night.
All right. What's the first thing you remember when you wake up after having gone to sleep?
I wake up to Stefan trying to put the leash on the dog.
Okay. Now, is this the first time that you've ever woken up to Stefan trying to put a leash on your dog, or is that something that has occurred before in the past?
I'm going to say this is the first time. It's not normal for any of us to put the leash on the dog on the bed, because if he's on top of any like bed, couch, anything, he'll pee. He gets really nervous. You have to do it on the floor. So I found it really weird that he did that. But
all right, so let me ask it a little more broadly. Is this the first time Stefan's ever come into your room while you're sleeping to take the dog out for you in the morning?
I can't recall if we saw him before.
Okay.
These I can't recalls, guys. I've told you the story of when I was a kid and I was asked to be a witness in a lawsuit where my friend had broken his arm. And when lawyers came out to talk to me, and I was like, I don't remember, right? I guess I'm saying that because I get like losing things from your brain, but again, we're talking about the murder of her child. For the last month and a half, or the previous month and a half, she should have been going through everything, right? Mentally just going through everything. Stefan, that morning, he came in to try to grab the dog, to take the dog out. Has that ever happened before? And she's sitting here going, I don't recall. That is the that is the best defense against a lie, is when you do recall, but you say you don't recall because they can't prove that you recall or not. It's bothers me.
Did you find it unusual then, or what did you think when this is occurring?
When it happened, I think I was more I found it off, but I was more worried over the dog. I was like, please don't pee on the bed. I don't want to do laundry.
Okay.
So I was more anxious over that. He put the dog on the leash and told me to lay down and go back to sleep. And I said, okay.
So were you not laying down when he tells you to go back and lay down?
No, when he put the leash on the dog, I shot off the bed because I was going to help him. I was like, no, let me do it. And he's like, no, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this.
Okay.
I said, okay.
Now, do you go back to sleep, or do you check your phone, or do anything?
I think I go back to sleep. I look at anything.
In this period of time that you have been awoken by Stefan, do you hear or see anybody else in your household?
I hear somebody in the kitchen. I'm not sure who it was.
Wait a
I'm not
minute.
sure who it was.
She saw someone in the
Could you
kitchen?
identify it by size, like their steps? Could you identify gender by their voice? Anything like that? Well,
All I heard was sounds of like cabinets shutting, like somebody in there shutting, like looking for something and shutting.
okay. Now, if your daughter had been awake, would she come in and say goodbye to you before school, or not? Just let you sleep?
I would have hoped she would have come by and say goodbye to me. I can't remember if this is one of the first times that Stefan actually took her to school, so I would have hoped she would have said good.
Wow, this is a person either just not with it mentally or in denial. She just said, I think this is one of the first times Stefan took her to school. And I know that we've heard him say, no, that doesn't happen very often. But I think she means on this is the first time Stefan has taken her to school. That's what it sounds like to me. Wow.
Good night, but I'm not sure.
All right, so do you fall back asleep?
I do.
And when do you wake up, and how do you wake up?
I wake up at like 9 o'clock in the morning to my alarm. Yeah, I wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning to my alarm. I get ready, I think at around 9:30, 9:45, I leave for my doctor's appointment.
Okay. So in this period of time from when you're waking up and getting ready, do you see anybody else in your home?
At this point, I'm not too sure. I know throughout the day I've seen my roommate in the kitchen cooking and doing her thing, but I don't recall if it was at this time.
Guys, this is the last
Did you see
day
your
she
daughter
saw
this
her daughter.
morning on the 26th?
No.
She should remember this day.
Did you have any texts or phone calls or any other type of communication through any possible app on your phone? Like, hey mom, love you at school, whatever. Any communications from Madeline?
Anything from her? Nothing.
Yeah, April.
All right. How about from Stefan by the time that you wake up at 9? Any texts or communication from him? Maddie's dropped, I'm off to the game store, or whatever he's doing?
No. I didn't hear back from Stefan until 10:20ish, and he had told me he left his phone at home that whole morning by accident. And I had asked him how the morning went, how was Maddie, and he let me know that this morning went great. We made great time. She got busy super quick. He was going to take her to McDonald's for breakfast, but she changed her mind. All she
This
wanted
is all
to do was sleep in
recited.
the car, so he let her sleep. He took her to school and dropped her off where he said he dropped her off, and
I mean, is it possible that she just believes him to this day? I mean, I just heard her catch herself. He dropped her off, or he said he dropped her off. So maybe she is finally waking up by this point, but wow. Hi everyone, new sub, first time to a live. Welcome, Jill. Have to laugh every time I see GF. I think someone's saying girlfriend before commenting. And maybe I need a different way to filter. That's funny. Welcome, Jill. All right, let's continue.
That was it.
And you had a 10:15 appointment for a blood draw?
Yes.
And did you go anywhere else prior to getting to your appointment for your blood draw? Did you go directly there or not directly there? That's basically the question.
Oh, I went directly there.
Right. And after your blood draw, did you go directly back home?
Yes.
Guys, these questions are designed to catch her in a lie only. What is the investigative purpose of saying, did you go directly there? Or did you make a stop? Did you go directly home? Yes or no? It's because they know the answer to this already. They know if she stopped at a Starbucks or whatever, if even those little teeny tiny lies can be enough to break this immunity deal.
About what time did you get home?
Sometime between 11:15 and 11:30.
Did you have any other appointments or doctor's appointments later in the day?
I was supposed to have had one, but I canceled it
When did you cancel it?
that same day
Why did you cancel it?
because it was a $350 Botox appointment that I didn't want to spend the money on. I changed my mind last second.
Yeah, I can do that, Kimberly.
When you get home from your blood draw appointment, is there anybody else at your home?
When I get home from blood draw, yes, Stefan was home.
All right. And can you describe what he's wearing, what he's doing, his demeanor, what's going on?
I can't recall what he's wearing. It might be a red shirt with a graphic on it.
Okay.
He's sitting in my bedroom on my desk.
Prior to you getting there, he's in your room? Or is that where you guys go to talk?
That he was hanging out there in my room.
Okay.
My room is kind of like the general hangout spot.
Okay.
I walk into my room. He's sitting there on the computer chair. He's talking, acting normal, asking about the morning and how everything went, and
Thank you.
that he let me know the errands that he ran that morning or what he was up to.
And what did he say he was up to?
He said he had dropped Maddie off at school and then afterwards went to a vape shop so he can buy vaping things.
Okay.
But that the store wasn't open, so he waited a long time for them to open. They never did. So he drove around, killed time, and then eventually made it back to my house at like 10:20. When later on, when I got home and he was home, we started discussing, or he started telling me that he was going to go back out to run a few more errands in a little bit down 192. And he gave me the name of a few stores that he might stop at. And I'm like, okay. I asked him if he wanted to meet me at my house by 2:30 so that we can go pick up Maddie from school together. And he said, yeah, he'll be back by 2:30. And I said, okay.
So was that the plan, to get her together, or was it ever discussed that he would get her alone?
The plan was for us to get her together.
Okay. All right. And so does he leave before you leave?
Actually, before this, while we were still discussing, while we were having the conversation in my room, he did mention at one point, while he was sitting there, that he had to reboot his phone, or that he had to update his phone.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to talk about the whole, he accidentally wiped his phone. Casey, I think it was hydroxyzine is what the med was.
And what was it? He had to update his phone. So I told him, stop avoiding it, do it. Like, updates take a while, like, do it. And while he was updating his phone, he said, I don't know what I did, but I just factory reset my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's weird. I didn't know that you could do that. He said, yeah, a button popped up and I pressed it and it just reset my entire phone. And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
So does he leave before you do to go do these errands he was telling you about?
Yes, he does leave.
Do you stay at home until it's time to go get Madeline?
Yes.
Do you hear anything from Stefan while he's out doing these errands?
No.
So 2:30 rolls around. Is Stefan back home yet?
No. At this point, I leave.
Do you try and call him or text him or communicate with him?
Yeah, I had been calling him like maybe starting 15 minutes before I was supposed to leave just to see where he was.
Did he answer?
No. I leave at 2:30. Around 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from him. And he said, I'm so sorry. I left my phone at home again on accident. I was driving down 192 and my tire exploded or shredded. And I had to pull over into one of the plazas and change my tire. He said he hurt his thumb doing that.
Okay.
And that, he was late and didn't make it back on time for that reason.
All right. When you leave to go pick Madeline up at 2:30, do you take her phone with you?
I do.
And how is it that you come to get her phone to go with you?
At some point in the morning, I was organizing and putting things away, and I walked into her bedroom and I saw her phone on her dresser. And I just assumed, she must have left it here while getting dressed and forgot it.
Okay. Was it on?
Yes.
And sometimes when you bump or move phones, the notification screen comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to do that, and did you see if there was any incoming notifications that she had missed?
I hadn't seen any, no.
Okay. All right. So you go to school, and
Again, that is a
Due to time-
question. That is a question that they know the answer to. If the screen came on, that is logged in a database on the inside the phone. They'll be able to get that information off the phone. So these little questions are designed just to catch her in lies. I feel very confident about that, and they're doing a very good job. I think they've got her a few different ways.
constraints like an NFL football game. We're going to kind of jump ahead a little bit. My understanding is that you want to be first in line, and you have to get there early to do that, and I understand that.
Yeah.
She doesn't come out.
She doesn't know.
Did you call her phone?
I did.
Why did you do that?
Because I forgot I had it with me. I was like, where is she? Why isn't she out yet? So I start calling her phone, and then I start realizing I'm hearing vibrating, and then I look down, and I see her phone's with me. I'm like, oh.
Okay.
How am I going to get a hold of her? Because
The giggling in this. Her daughter is murdered, man. The giggling.
I'm the first in line. The cars behind me already have children. They're full. They're waiting for me to leave.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of jump ahead. Did Madeline ever complain to you about believing that Stefan had taken her Christmas money?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Christmas money went missing. And we were both, I don't even know how to explain this. We had collected all of her envelopes with Christmas money and consolidated into one. I'll put all her money into one.
Yep.
And then I said, I will put this somewhere safe. And I thought I had put it in my nightstand. A few days later comes around, whatever. We start looking for it or asking for it or something like that, and we can't find it. We can't find it at all.
So let me just narrow it down. Did she accuse Stefan of taking it?
I'm not sure if she did directly. We both had the suspicion, but we're like, no, could he have? No, I don't think so. But I eventually found that money.
Okay, I was just going to, how did the mystery end? All right, so you had just started this job at Disney Coronado Springs like a week or two earlier, is that right?
Yes.
And your sister and other family members would help with Maddie getting to school because of your job?
Yes, my mom and my sister, yes.
Okay. Why is it that now Stefan on February 26th is coming up to help as opposed to any of your family members helping getting Madeline to school?
This is a great question.
I had asked for him to come and help me because I think I was working a lot of night shifts or like really late shifts, and I just wanted the opportunity to see Maddie, like, because I wanted to spend more time with my daughter throughout the week while I was working, versus had she had stayed at my mom's, I wouldn't have seen her all week.
This is a perfect, again, oh my goodness, I don't understand how she can be spouting this and doing so with a straight face with no emotion. I don't get it. I wanted to see my daughter more. Oh, you mean the daughter that you will never see ever again? These are the kinds of things that would be going on in my mind that would cause me to break down. It's just strange to me, right? Maybe it means nothing, but it just seems so strange that she's behaving this way. Just wrong.
So that was just me wanting to see her and spend time with her.
Did Madeline stay at your mom's house fairly frequently?
Every few weekends here and there, like just for the weekend kind of thing.
So like if she described it to her friends as like her second home and like kind of offer up it's better jacuzzi and pool, does that sound like that's the place?
Yes.
Where does Madeline sleep when she's over at your mom's?
She will sleep in bed with my mom.
Okay. Did she ever have sleepovers? Like have friends come over and sleep over?
Slumber parties, no.
Did she ever go and attend any?
No.
Is there any particular...
Emily, yes. By the time this was done, she was already aware of everything. All of it.
particular reason? I mean, she's a 12-year-old girl on the cusp of being 13.
Yeah, I've been very uncomfortable with sleepovers just because I know what can happen. Anything can happen in a sleepover.
Well, then you can be the host house like we kind of were. You never hosted any sleepovers for her friends?
For her friends, no.
Did she ask about it?
Yeah, she did ask.
Was it probably a source of contention or arguments?
It was, I guess what was the sort of argument is her and she wanted to really sleep over her best friend's house, and I just kept saying, no, you never know what could happen. I don't know the dad, I don't know the brother, I don't know anybody there. Like, I don't.
You never know what could happen. I don't know the dad, I don't know the brother. I do not believe for a second that she did not know what Stefan Stearns was, let's say allegedly right now, doing to her daughter. I don't believe it for a second. I believe she knew what was going on. So this whole thing, like, I don't know what could happen over there. Don't know dad, don't know brother, don't know uncle, don't know primo, don't know cuñado, it's like, it's dumb. I just don't believe it for a second, and it just infuriates me.
I don't know what can happen to you, so just afraid of her getting assaulted.
Okay. Did Madeline do her own laundry?
Yeah.
Did she cook for herself?
I was teaching her how to make a few things, so I mean, yeah, she could, I guess.
Okay. What's her normal routine for getting ready for bed?
Again, this is a
we give her
redaction.
her meds.
I'm sorry, take your time.
Is this actually a moment where she's having issues? Finally? Oh my goodness.
We get ready for bed. I'd give her her medication. She would get in the shower.
Take a long
Finally
shower.
hit her. Has it finally hit her? I don't think that's an act. That sounded sincere. It finally hit her. Oh, I will never do this with my daughter ever again. Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got about another minute before I'm going to call it.
I understand.
Like an hour plus, yeah.
Okay.
But she loved it.
I've got some more stuff, but about a minute more of this recording.
She'd get out, she'd get dressed, she'd let her hair towel dry for a while.
Notice how she is now moved into the past. She'd do this, she'd do that. That to me is an indication that she is She's now in the reality that her daughter is gone forever. That's what it seems like to me. Of course, I have no bona fides here, guys. I'm a layperson. But finally, that's what it seems like to me. Let's go about another 45 seconds here.
And then she would brush it. We would watch some TV. She'd probably have a snack before bed as well.
Okay. What were kind of her nighttime uniforms? I mean, everybody kind of has their pajamas, but they're not necessarily pajamas. What was her routine nightwear?
She really liked wearing shorts. So she had a few pajama outfits, but she really liked wearing shorts and baggy t-shirts.
Okay. How about her routine getting ready for school in the morning? What's that about?
We'd wake up. The alarm would start ringing around 7:30. We'd snooze it up until 8 o'clock. Then she'd get up. She'd get dressed. And then she'd lay back down in bed while she would wait for me to make her breakfast.
So she's a breakfast eater?
Yeah.
Okay.
She'd have breakfast. Then she would start, with brushing her hair, brushing her teeth, putting on makeup. At 5, I would give her ADHD medications for school.
Is that every day or just school days?
I think that's a good place to stop. I'm just going to make a quick note here, 3522. 3522. All right, so that I don't forget for tomorrow's live stream. Now, real quick, guys, I want to go to a couple of comments that I have favorited here on the back end. We're going to start with some super chats. I really appreciate you guys doing this, taking care of me. Built to Help Art gave $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Art. Galinda Clark, another $5 from you. Thank you very much. From Michael Harrison, $7.99. Great analysis, Gavin. Such a terrible situation this young girl was in, and I'm afraid her mother is culpable. Thank you very much, Michael Harrison. Thank you all for that. A couple of questions that came in. By the way, sometimes you guys will put GF in a comment and wonder why I'm not putting it on the screen or I'm not answering it. It's because most of the time it's because I'm favoriting it. Sometimes I don't want to bring it up for YouTube reasons, but these are the ones that I've favorited and I just want to go over real quick. I can't remember all of them, but we're gonna go through them real quick. The Net Owl, Gavin. What information could Jennifer have that isn't provided by Stefan's phone? I'm just wondering what she knows that is worth immunity. So first of all, we learned from Mr. J that there's already been a misdemeanor that has happened here. They've already got her on a misdemeanor, but they're giving her immunity of that misdemeanor. By the way, there are some misdemeanors that will put you in jail for a long, long time, right? So it's not like it's a parking ticket or something like that. So they've got her on something. They've got a little leverage on her. We will give you this derivative use immunity if you tell us your side of the story, you answer our questions. Now, they probably know most everything in the case, but there's going to be a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of lies from Stefan Stearns. There's going to be a lot of half-truths from other people that are interviewed here. And so what they will be doing is triangulating the truth by talking to more and more people. Just based on the questions that were asked that I think they probably already know the answer to, those were just traps. Those were truth traps. We already know the answer to this question. Will she lie about this? And I think they got her on a couple of those, by the way. Gavin, can you explain if Jenn can never be charged? Yeah, I can explain this again. No worries at all. Go to my website, gavinfish.com, go to the blog, and go to my latest post. I think it's a pretty good breakdown of what derivative use is, what derivative use immunity is, and it will kind of answer your question. The answer to your question is no, Jenn can be charged. Jenn can definitely be charged in this. they've given her immunity from anything that she gives them that they're able to, that helps with the case, right? Anything that she might be guilty of that she gives them, she has immunity from that unless they can find that information through like a back door or a side door. Then all bets are off. Also, if she lies and they catch her in a lie, they can charge her for the misdemeanor. Now, one of the things that you guys probably already know, let me take off my headphones here. One of the things you guys probably already know is that cops love to charge people with crimes. They love it. It's their job. It's the reason they exist. It's not the reason they exist. It's the reason they exist in their job. Prosecutors love to prosecute crime. So it's not uncommon for a prosecutor to like I've told you about this case that happened in my area here in Western Pennsylvania, where a man was charged in the murder of like a little 2-year-old boy, and then hiding him in a little bag in the basement where they were living. The man was charged, and in our little area, after like I wrote up a whole article on it for the publication I work for, and in the comments section where we had shared it on social media, why isn't this mom charged? Why isn't she charged? It just took a little while longer, and she got some big charges too. So I think that Jenn will be charged. I do. Thanks for that question, Shiny Star. Rebecca Andes is saying, Gavin, do you think she knew what was happening? Yes, definitely. Angelica, do you personally, Gavin, think Jennifer Soto should be held responsible for the life Madeline lived? Yes, I do. I think it's pretty obvious. Laura, Gavin, so this means Jenn will never be charged. How do you give an unfit mother immunity? It does not mean that she will never be charged. It means that she has immunity for the misdemeanor that they're giving her immunity on, and for the use and derivative use of anything she gives them. But if they are able to triangulate that another way, they'll get her. If she lied, they'll get her. She will definitely be, I think she will be charged. I shouldn't say definitely, but I think the charges will come. Gavin, do you believe she's done nothing criminal like police have stated? Police have not stated that. Well, I haven't heard the police state that. In this interview, we heard them state that she is guilty of a misdemeanor. They would charge her with a misdemeanor, which would be serious. So yeah, I think you're right though, Angelica, that there have been some statements in the record saying we didn't charge her because we couldn't find anything to charge her with. But once it gets to the prosecutor's office, man, they are investigating it deeply. Okay, looks like we had two more super chats come in. One from Vicky Guerra. I'm new to your channel. Well, Vicky, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. And PJ Tyler coming through with $5. Thank you very much, PJ Tyler. Guys, I am so glad that you've joined me today. We are going to finish up this recording in our live stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. I just want to invite you one more time, head on over to my website, read this blog post. It's really easy to find. You can either just get to it from the homepage, because it's the latest blog post that I've written. It's right there. Or if you go to the blog page, it will be up at the top right there. Also, if you subscribe to Crime Cod, which you can do by just clicking on that right there. It's a almost daily newsletter that just has headlines that have been in the news that day, some links to some YouTube videos, and some thoughts from me. Please feel free to subscribe to Crime Cod. It's easy. I don't spam. It's easy to unsubscribe. Also, man, I'm getting so close to head out to CrimeCon UK that is being held in London, September 21st, 22nd. I'm excited because I love seeing everybody at the show. I love talking with followers and viewers and people who don't know me don't know me from Adam. I love the fun little dinners that we do together as content creators. And this year, I'm especially happy that I'm taking one of our children with me. So I'm going to be doing some extracurriculars while we're there too. But anyway, you can use Fish at checkout if you have not bought your tickets and you're going to be there. That will save you 10%. Lastly, guys, don't forget about the fish tank. Growing fish tank. Man. Yeah, this is where we hang out on Facebook and we talk about all things true crime. With that, guys, I've done all my plugs. I hope you will come back tomorrow. Hope that we will see one another then in a short 22 hours and 52 minutes. If not, maybe catch me on the replay crew. Just don't forget to subscribe to the channel if this is your jam. All right, with that, bid you guys adieu, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.